Hello, welcome to this Ask Me Anything Q&A. As we wait for people to join, I will just take some time and talk about my journey, how I ended up where I am. Hello again, Bonnie. Beautiful to see you. I just sent you a message on my gratitude wall. Thank you very much, my dear. So feel free to come in and say hello, and I'm just going to gab about myself for a minute. Comment when you want. Hello, Rick, again. Comment when you want, ask questions whenever you want. I'm going to do my best to be sure to read everything that comes in during this session, but let me introduce myself for the millionth time. I'm Jacqui Mancuso. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm an intuitive healer. I'm an animal healer. I'm a crystal Reiki practitioner. I'm a self-studied EFT practitioner and a self-studied astrologer. So those are just my qualifications, but who cares? I'm a rising Aquarius. So if anyone knows about astrology, Aquariuses are kind of goofy and weird, and my chart ruler is Uranus, the planet of unexpected big changes. So I've always walked to the beat of my own drum. I've always been weird, to say the best. But when I was a kid, I would hide it because I wanted to fit in. Who doesn't want to fit in? I was raised in the Catholic Church, and that's all that I knew up until about 2012. I was with my dad at a restaurant, and he was a very, very intelligent man. He's also a rising Aquarius, so we got along. He was also pretty weird. But he was first telling me in 2012 that, because I'm the baby of 10 kids, we had a big family, and they would take us to church every week. They had us go through all the sacraments. And he said that the only reason that they did that was because they wanted to, give a good impression on the family. They just wanted to mold us into good people. And he said that going through all those steps, he would never really believe in the book, the acts of the religion, but he believed in spirituality. And this is the first time in my life where I was like, what are you talking about? Bonnie, thanks for letting me know. Is it getting choppy for anybody else? So he was telling me about energy and how energy works, and that there are vibrations that go through everything, and that even the table that we were eating breakfast on was vibrating. It looks like it's solid, but there's a little space between all the atoms, and good vibes are happy people and bad vibes are grumpy people. And he was explaining how you don't have to believe in God as this magical man who lives on a cloud in the sky, that you could believe in the trees, you could believe in the universe. And that's when I first started accepting, okay, I think I could get on this higher power nonsense stuff. Because as a kid, everything religion-based did not vibe with me. So that was the first time that I was kind of opened up to this stuff. Then a couple years after that, I acquired a roommate in an unlikely situation. So I fully believe that the universe planted this guy into my life. But I lived with this guy named Phil, and he's around my age, a few years older than me. And I believe at the time he was going through his Saturn return. So when Saturn returns to where it was when you were born, big changes can happen in your life. He, at the time, was very into crystals. So he would show me how to choose which crystals want to be with you that day. He showed me how to muscle test in the form of swaying. So he showed me, you can hold something up to your heart and ask your higher self, is this meant for me? And you can feel yourself being pulled forward or backward. He was the first person who took me to a Reiki treatment. And I just saw him as this magical man, and I felt that he had some sort of gift or some sort of calling that wasn't for everybody. So that was that part of my life. Around the same time, I worked with a different guy who was very into astrology, and he and I worked in the back room of a retail store, so we would just sit around all day and gossip about astrology and why this sign gets along well with this sign. Maybe that's why I argued with this person, because I'm a Taurus and they're a Gemini and all that stuff. And I was seeing all of those things as separate. So I kept all this stuff in my life just kind of in the background. as I moved through and I finished college, I started my career as a PE teacher in the public school system, focusing a lot on health and learning how everything in the body is connected. Then, a couple years ago, it's coming up on 2 years, guys. Friday the 13th of March, 2020, when the world shut down. I was sent home from school, and I was, at the time, very excited to have a break from the kids. And it started dragging out, right? At first, we were going to be home for a week, and then we're going to be home for 2 weeks, and then it's a month, and now it's the rest of the school year. So I was in a strange place with my career. I was working for 1 hour a day, jam-packing my classes into 20 minutes each, and I had the rest of the day to do whatever I wanted. So I recognized that I had a choice. I had a choice to either live in fear or a choice to start doing some research and making the best of my free time. So research is something that gets me going. I really enjoy just like diving into topics. So I started with astrology. I was like, what does this mean? And then I just started branching off. And I started realizing throughout all of this research that everything is connected. So astrology, energy healing, learning about the chakras. I started learning tarot. I started reading about runes. Haven't used them yet. That's when I learned EFT. I purchased so many crystals that are now all around my house, learned about how they work, why certain ones work. I started creating these moon rituals. So on the new moon, the full moon, I have all these rituals now. I've always kind of used essential oils for my adult life, but I started really branching out and seeing the benefits of all of them. I expanded my essential oil collection, and then I learned about shadow work. So I started working on my shadow a little bit, doing some past life regressions, doing some inner child healing, and just digging up everything that we want to hide and learning how freeing it is to get all of that stuff up and out. I started learning about the human design, which is astrology on steroids, to say it quickly. I started reading about palmistry, thinking, things that seem so mystical and magical that are just, I don't know, they're second nature to me now. They're all reality. I started working on my manifestation rituals, started with daily affirmations. This is when I became a Reiki master and focused on my animal healing skills. I became a yoga instructor. I started experiencing acupuncture. That's another, if you've never done acupuncture, I highly suggest it. It is magical. I formed my daily meditation practice. So back in the day, I would meditate here and there, a little 10-minute YouTube video here and there, but I have solidified at least 10, 15 minutes a day. I've gone on shamanic journeyed into upper world and lower world and seen my spirit guides, connected with my spirit guides. I focused a lot on mindfulness, just bringing mindfulness into my day-to-day, learning how to ground and how important it is to ground. When I started on this spiritual journey, I thought it was all about ascension because that seems pretty intuitive, right? If you want to ascend, you need to connect to your higher self. But I've been learning how important it is to ground all of that energy within yourself because then you can ascend in both directions, right? Salt lamps are huge in my life now. I have 5 or 6 of them around the house. I started researching about ascending from 3D to 5D, just getting into what all of those mean, how to raise your vibration. I discovered healing frequencies, binaural beats. I play healing frequencies in my house all of the time, and people say when they come in, they can just feel the energy vibe change. So just a whole bunch of other stuff. I've seen psychics, I've been to holistic health fairs, and all of this is just expanding my knowledge day by day by day. So with all of that said, I again started realizing that everything is connected. Like literally everything is connected. I'm connected to you. You're connected to me. I'm connected to my table, to my coffee cup, right? So you're in the universe, and the universe is also in you. I am you and you are me. I read a couple books that really woke me up. Awareness by Anthony DeMello is a book that I highly, highly, highly recommend. I'll type it in the chat here real quick. Awareness by Anthony DeMello. I'm sorry if that is not spelled right. So then in July of last year, I made the choice to start a business and just go. I literally just jumped in. And I'm so supported by the universe. And I think that a lot of people do big things like that and it fails because they are afraid to relinquish control to the universe, is I guess an easy way to say that. But I started out with a website and business cards, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I'm just trying to explain to you guys how magical the universe can be when you open up to the magic of it. Quit my career as a teacher. It was a huge decision, but it was definitely worth it. And the more that I've been interacting with people like you here on Insight Timer, I'm learning that lots of people are in that same situation now. A lot of people want to change their career. A lot of people want to change their relationship. And there's a lot of stuff going on energetically in the world right now that is supporting us. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah. So I still have a million questions about truth and reality and what all this means, but I know that when I was first starting, I had so many questions. When I first started, I was lost, but excited. And I came across lots of mentors, and I am greatly appreciative of everything that I've learned from them. So I hope to share something that will lead you further down your path, that will lead you further down to explore the realms of your life that you are meant to explore, that will help you expand in every way. So that's just a little bit about me so that you know why you're here and who you're talking to. Let's see, Monica said, I'm looking to get acupuncture. How can I choose one? Any suggestions in addition to reviews? So I was lucky enough to just fall into my acupuncturist. There's a massage parlor in town. They're called Natural Therapy Wellness. So I was like, oh, it seems natural. That's good. I was first referred to them because of a different massage therapist. She was like, I can't help you. You need to go get a Thai yoga massage. So I originally called this place for a Thai yoga massage. That lady was booked up for months, and I was in a lot of pain. So I was like, well, let's just try acupuncture. And my acupuncturist turned out to be this shamanic, beautiful woman who is one of my in-person spirit guides. She's definitely a mentor now. So I was lucky enough to fall into it. And I feel like with acupuncture, it can get shady, but you have to be certified to do it. And I just try. Just find one. If you vibe with them, awesome. If you don't vibe with them, they're not your person, and just go find someone else. Reviews are a great way for us to get information before the fact, but you have an intuition. Trust your own intuition. If you're feeling drawn to a certain business or drawn to a certain person, I think that their energy is calling your energy. So let me know how that goes, Monica. Monica, psychics, any you could recommend? Nowadays, all is online, so maybe the ones you had seen. You're welcome, Monica. The two psychics that I have seen so far have both been in person, and they're here in Northern Illinois. So unless you're in Northern Illinois, I don't really have anyone to recommend. Maybe there are people in person where you live, and stuff like Facebook groups, like there are a lot of like woo-woo people here on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram or anything else, so I don't know other ways, or Meetup. So there's this app called Meetup, and I have found a lot of fun experiences. I just went on a 5D nature hike over the weekend, and I met some people who are on the same wavelength as I am. So yeah, maybe try Meetup and just see where that takes you. Soleil, can you talk about crystals more? I could talk about crystals all day. Let me know if there's anything in specific that you want me to talk about. But I'm going to read Bonnie's comment real quick, and then we'll come back to crystals. Just let me know where you're going with that. Got a hello. Hello, everybody. Bonnie, thank you so much for sharing your background. Can you talk more about Mars and Venus moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius and how it might impact relationships? My daughter's boyfriend is having some commitment issues that started on Sunday. It was all so great before. Oh, Saleh, I'm glad. I have a weird name, so I appreciate correct pronunciations and whatnot. All right, Bonnie, that's a very interesting question because, yes, Mars and Venus, the planet of love and the planet of war, divine feminine, divine masculine, have been dancing together in Capricorn since mid-February. They're still dancing together, but they've progressed into Aquarius, which happened on Sunday. I wonder if those commitment issues were happening beforehand and they just came to light on Sunday, because Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. So Aquarius energy always wants the best for everybody, no matter how they go about it. Aquarius energy is the rebel. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so they are just outlandish, I guess, in a way. They do the unexpected, but it's always in the benefit for the greater good. So I'm getting a sense that these commitment issues may have been happening and it just came to light with this Aquarius energy coming in. Capricorn is earth and Aquarius is air. So things might have been pushed under, things might have been stagnant, and now that this air energy is here, they might be coming out. That I'm having a really strong intuitive feeling about that. But it all also depends on how that's interacting with their own charts. Because everything that's happening in the sky currently has an angle that touches your planets. So sometimes the planets in the sky are harmonious with the planets in your chart. Sometimes the planets in the sky have not a negative, but like a difficult aspect to what's happening in your own chart. So I hope that small explanation gave you a little bit of insight. So Soleil, let's talk about crystals a little bit. Okay, good, Bonnie, beautiful. Crystals can be used in umpteen million different ways. Crystals can be placed. Explain how we know which one to use for a day. Beautiful. All right, so crystals, I place them all around my house, and it's all intuitive based. If I bring one home, I have a spot next to my bed that's kind of like my altar, and I have probably 30 different crystals that I sleep next to all the time. I have some downstairs in my Reiki room where I do my business, and those are specific for client use. I have some right by my doorway. I have some by my TV. I have shungite all over my house. It helps with EMFs. It helps with electromagnetic frequencies that like our Wi-Fi stuff and our Bluetooth stuff lets off. So if there's anything that you guys want to fill your house with, it is shungite. I recommend that one very strongly. So when it comes to knowing which ones to use, which ones want to be carried with you through the day, it comes down to practicing with your own intuition. So first you need to understand that it is in you. Like your intuition works. You just need to learn how it works with you. So some of us are more visual, some of us are auditory, some of us feel, some of us know, some of us can smell stuff. So maybe even choosing like one day at a time. Like today I'm going to notice if I see anything, and tomorrow I'm going to notice if I can hear anything. But the way that I first learned is taking a crystal in your hand, whichever one you're drawn to, whichever one you first want to pick up. And this is what I learned from Phil. First, centering yourself, making sure that you're standing in a straight line. Make sure your hips are tucked in so you're not sticking your butt out. Just have a nice posture. Close your eyes and take a deep calming breath. And as you bring the crystal to your heart, ask yourself, is this crystal going to serve my highest good today? Hold it up and you can feel it either pushes you back saying no, or it'll draw you forward saying yes, more of me. So you can start with something like that and notice if that works for you. He also taught me, like, once you figure out which crystals want to be with you one-on-one, put them together and ask, do these crystals want to be together today? Yes or no? So maybe start playing with that. But definitely just trusting your first instinct. If you look at a bunch of them and you're drawn to a certain one, just pick it up and just notice. Just notice how it feels. Beautiful. And I guess the good thing with crystals is you can never really go wrong because none of them will harm you. So if it's not the right crystal for you today, first off, there is no right and wrong. But if there is one that might be calling to you louder, you'll know as the day goes on. If you're carrying rose quartz, but your energy really wanted black tourmaline, like you'll just know sometime during the day, like maybe I should have picked up that one. So play with that. Let me know how that goes. Gada, can you tell us about the Akashic Record? Absolutely. Tammy, I'm so glad I found you. Thank you, lovely. That's very kind of you. So the Akashic Records are a database of everything that ever has and everything that ever will happen to your soul. So first, understanding that our soul is infinite. Our soul is energy, and energy never dies, it just moves. So our soul has been incarnated previous times. Our soul will reincarnate in the future. And this isn't necessarily like on Earth either. Like you may have had a life off planet or in another dimension or whatever. But that's what the Akashic Records hold. So it is a place where you go intuitively through your third eye. You can learn to access the Akashic Records yourself, or you can visit someone who does Akashic Record reading. That's not a path that I've traveled down yet, but I do have a contact for that if you are interested. If you are interested, I think you can send me messages on Insight Timer, but if not, you can always send me a message through my personal website, which is on my Insight Timer bio. Anyway, so you can go to someone who can read your records for you, or there's meditations on Insight Timer for Akashic Record readings, and I've done them, and I've come up with some stuff, which is very interesting. But essentially, if you're doing your own, the person leading the meditation will usually bring you to a place. So you can access the Akashic Records from different places. Like one time they brought me out to the middle of a lake, and I met a man who was sitting on a chair in a lake, and he had a scroll with a message for me. Other times I have entered, like I've gone up a staircase and then I've been led into a library and there's a glowing book, and that book is my soul's journey. So usually you're led to a place with some sort of record and you just gaze at the record and then you see what comes up. So Akashic Records can be used to discover things that have happened in your past, and it can be used to discover what may come in your future. And I've been using them recently to see what sort of karma I am here to clear now. I'm using the Akashic Records to look back and notice if maybe there was something in a past life, a choice that I made that is now blocking me from things in this incarnation. So I can't really report on anything crazy that I've learned yet, but it's always a work in progress, and it's just a fun place to go. So, beautiful. Aditi, what's your say on a Libra Sun, Aries Moon personality type? 1 and 7. Were you born on a full moon? You might have been. Libra Suns, I've actually been noticing some different... Okay, so Libras, in the past, I've always seen them as like very easy to get along with. Libras enjoy balance. They like having everyone happy. And I feel, I don't know, everyone's different. It depends on what else is in your chart. But my past experience with Libras is that they're pretty easygoing and they kind of just keep the peace. But recently I've been coming in contact with a lot of Libras who like to argue just for the sake of arguing. Like, they don't even care if they win the argument. But I guess just mentally inquisitive, and it bothers some type of people. But the fact that you have an Aries moon, so Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. They are cardinal fire. The moon has to do with how you handle your emotions. So I can see that you might get hot really quickly, but then you can also be quick to just get over it and move on. Just without seeing the rest of your chart, that's what I would say. Let me know if I'm spot on. Bonnie, when I was attending the oracle reading yesterday, I felt an energy coming from my husband's office next door when card 3 was being read. Is that a message for him or about him? Can you feel cards for someone else? That's a really good question, Bonnie. And that is interesting because it's your husband. Because we form energetic connections with lots of people within our lives, but when it's someone as intimate as a family member, depending on how open his energy is towards you, you could be reading it for him. But my gut, when I was reading that out, my gut told me that it was about him. And that's something that only your intuition can know. I know everyone hates that answer. I could try to lead you in the right place, but it's all about your own intuition. There's something else coming. Give me a moment. I would ask your husband if he felt anything during that time, and maybe his response will give you more insight into whether it was for him or about him. Oh, Bonnie, I know you can figure it out. Andrea, I'm a Scorpio and tend to frustrate people. Any thoughts? Scorpios are the most intense out of the whole zodiac. Scorpios are very, very passionate. So wherever your passion comes out in your life, you're passionate. And Scorpios do not let questions go unanswered. So you might frustrate people because you want to get to the bottom of something, just to explore, just to dig up whatever you're interested in. And some other people might not be as comfortable with diving in as far as you want to dive in. That's usually Scorpios, in my opinion. Let me know if that resonates with you. Janine, I used to see spirits all the time, but now I don't. What happened? Aditi, Janine, what? How? So, Janine, I think specifically, I would recommend that book, Awareness, by Anthony DeMello. While we're here on this earth, there are lots of illusions that are painted onto our being. A lot of these illusions are intentional. A lot of these illusions are unintentional. When we're born, we are completely connected to spirit, right? So that's why you hear a lot of children who can see spirits, a lot of children, they have imaginary friends. Most of them are not imaginary, they're from another realm, and children are so connected that they can see them and they can communicate with them as if it's real life. And then we enter into society, and society tells you that, nope, that's weird. You're crazy if you see that kind of stuff. That's not real. And all these things so from our perspective, it seems like this is just the way the society has gone. I feel like even back in the day, the further back you go in history, the more spiritually connected people were. Now, I feel like people like us are kind of the weird ones out. Janine, not actually seeing, but in my mind's eye. Same concept. We're going in the same direction with this. When society paints illusions on you, telling you that what you're seeing is wrong. It gets into your subconscious, and you can easily start to suppress those kinds of visions, those kinds of gifts, those kinds of experiences subconsciously. So you're not actually saying out loud, like, man, I'm weird because that happens, and it turns off. Just certain messages that you see through things like television and movies, things that you hear on the news, it just flips off some of these connections. So learning how to acknowledge some of the illusions that have been painted onto us is the first step, and then learning how to disconnect those from ourselves helps us to come back to our true spiritual nature. So I hope that made sense. That was a long-winded answer. But it doesn't mean that you are not able to get it back. The fact that you want it back tells me that you're on your way to retrieving it, as long as you allow yourself to be open to it. Allow yourself to notice what comes up. Allow yourself to notice if there's any lessons that you are learning, or any lessons that are in front of you that you're supposed to be learning, to uncover those gifts again. With that being said, all of us have these kinds of gifts. We are all, as humans, we are all clairsentient, clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairauditory. We have this really strong intuition that is muddled because we're too powerful. Soleil, yes, we like the feeling of conversation. Conversation for me, we are connecting energy. And I agree with that you said about Libras. We like the feeling of the conversation for me, and we are connecting energy. Beautiful. I love that, Soleil. Thanks for sharing. Scrolling through here, lore. That's what happened to me today. I was told not to say I saw and communicated with spirit. Interesting. Live your own truth. Who cares what someone else says? Who cares what someone else says? Oh my gosh. Once you start living in your true, authentic self, no one can harm you because you don't care what other people say or what other people think. It's beautiful. Karen, can you talk about some traits of Cancers? I might be a little biased towards Cancers because my dad was a Cancer, but Cancers are the family sign. Cancers, in my opinion, have always been the strongest, influenced by their family. They love their family. They would do anything for their family. And Leos, Cancers and Leos. So sorry if I offended any Leos out there. Cancers are the crab. So they're a water sign, and water signs are known for being very emotional. And Cancers can go either of two ways. They can be overly emotional, wearing their emotions on their sleeve all of the time, as far as expressing and as far as receiving from others. So you might attract a lot of emotional people. But being the crab, Cancers have this hard outer shell, and all of their mushy-gushy is on the inside. So Cancers can also be like closed off emotionally to certain people, and then once you get in, there's a whole lot of stuff in there. So I would say that's the main theme of Cancers. Laura, you got it back. You're a psychic healer. I love that. I love that. I am also coming into a lot of parts of myself that I forgot about that I had when I was a kid, and they're all resurfacing, and that's awesome. Aditi, sometimes my dead ancestors come in my dream. Are they visiting us? Absolutely. 100%. So the stuff that we see in our dreams, I think, is magical. I think I've said that word about 100 times today. I first recommend that you write down your dreams if you are not already. Laura, Aditi is asking you a question, so feel free to answer that. So in our dreams, we turn off our cognitive functioning, so we kind of turn off our ego, right? And the ego is the part of you that tries to keep you safe. So sometimes the ego can block things in our day-to-day lives that are our ancestors or our spirit guides. This is all happening unconsciously. So when you're sleeping, it's all your unconscious mind and your unconscious processing. So it's much easier for our guides, for our ancestors to come in and give us messages. So I highly recommend writing down your dreams. I've been writing down my dreams for as long as I can remember. And the more I record what I find, the more I dream. So I'm at the point right now where every morning when I wake up, and I type this, right? So it's faster than writing, but it takes me a good 20-25 minutes to write out all of the details from my dreams. And my dreams haven't always been this vivid. Also, as far as dreams go, now, for about the next 2 months, is a very strong spiritual time. And dreams are becoming very powerful, and they're going to be bringing lots of big messages. The reason being is because on April 12th, Neptune and Jupiter are coming conjunct in Pisces. Neptune is the planet of dreams. He's the planet of woo-woo. He is the modern ruler of Pisces. And before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. So Neptune and Jupiter coming together in their own sign. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of growth. So all of this dreamy, watery, just psychic energy is happening. When they come together, they kind of enhance each other. Now, Jupiter and Pisces conjunct about every 13 years. But the last time that they came conjunct in Pisces was 166 years ago. So this is just a very big spiritual intuition, manifesting, abundant time. So manifestations are going to be high, and dreams are going to be very helpful, right? So your intuition, tune into your intuition now, and you will learn so much that you can take with you for the rest of your life. To where we were. My computer is jumpy. I'm sorry, the internet is making this slow down. Janine, 2 Aries in a romantic relationship. Thoughts? Again, disclaimer, this depends on everything else in your chart because there is so much in your chart. However, Aries is the ram, and Aries like to go head first at everything. So if the two of you guys are going head first all of the time, it depends. Are you going head first at each other, or are you together going head first into what you want? There's a quick synopsis. Aries are a fire sign. They're cardinal fire. So cardinal is like the starting. It's like the spark. So lots of sparks. It just depends where you're aiming those sparks. Laura, yes, I don't care anymore. I'm my true self now, and I'm helping so many with psychic healing. I love that. I love that. I love that. Beautiful. Maria, hi. I'm a Pisces. Sometimes I predict something and it comes true. I have a lot of ocean dreams. Is that a good thing? I don't believe in good and bad, right? Everything in this universe just is until we assign it good or bad. I believe that is common for Pisces, or like that's something that comes more naturally to Pisces than to other signs. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and they are the most complex out of all of the signs because they carry traits from all of the previous 11. Pisces, they tend to be very psychic because they rule the 12th house of astrology. So if you've ever seen an astrology chart, it looks like a clock face and it has a bunch of pie pieces. It's hard to explain why they're there, but Pisces rules the 12th house, the last little pie piece of the zodiac. The 12th house represents our intuition. They're the dreamer, the poet, the mystic, the occult, the unknown. Pisces are really good at just like digging into things and understanding them from all levels, much more than other signs. Pisces is also a water sign, so I can see, the ocean dreams coming in with that. I don't fully understand dream interpretation, but I've heard that when you dream about water, the water can represent your subconscious. The water always represents emotions. So I guess it depends on what's happening in your dreams. Are you over the water? Are you in the water? Or are you just observing what's happening in the water? Maybe asking yourself, are you observing your emotions? Are you above the water? Are you in the water, right? Are you feeling through a whole bunch of different things, trying to explore them? Interesting. Soleil, New Age is actually about the now, present moment. Collectively, as a human race, we are coming into the consciousness of knowing this. And forgive my grammar, I can't see as I'm texting. You're texting wonderfully, Soleil. And I did not know that. I keep hearing this New Age, but I never explored what that meant. Actually about the now, present moment. Collectively, as a human race, we are coming into the consciousness of knowing this. The consciousness of the human race is exponentially rising for the last couple years. The vibration of Mother Earth is exponentially rising right now, and she can't help but take all of us with her. So I'm curious to hear if you guys in the last 2 years, have you noticed lots of new insights? Because I feel like every new week is just like a new spiritual awakening. Janine, is the ego the part of a person that doesn't go with them when they die? That's a good question, and I saw that someone else, it was you. What do you believe happens when we die? Sorry if that's too personal. I love personal. You can ask me anything. That's literally why it's called Ask Me Anything. So let's talk about that for a second, because I've never actually digested that. Is the ego what doesn't go with you when you die? So I've heard that enlightenment is the death of the ego. But I've also heard that the ego isn't necessarily all bad, that it's just the part of us that is trying to protect us. So I don't think that the ego goes with you when you die. Something is leading me with the ego and karma, like they go hand in hand. And every time that you enter a new incarnation, you sign a new soul contract and you are given a new karma. Or whatever happens in this lifetime, you work through it with your next lifetime. So I believe that you got me thinking, Janine. I do think that you leave your ego behind when you die. But your next incarnation is going to give you a new ego, so it's not like you can ever escape it. So I don't know if it's the same or a different ego. And then what do I believe happens when we die? It's just our physical body that dies. Our soul is eternal. I have lots of theories, right? I obviously don't know because this incarnation of myself has never died. I believe that whenever we are ready, so once we do pass over and we are in, I don't even know where we go, but before we enter our next incarnation, we definitely do sign a soul contract, and we choose where we go. We choose all of the details of our lives, and we agree and accept that this is the life that my soul needs to live in order to clear said karma from previous lives. I don't know what the process is that makes us forget from signing the soul contract to birth. That's a very interesting question. But for all of us who are awake and aware now, with all of these changes that are happening in the world, Just know that you agreed to be here because this universe needs you at this time. And wherever you go next, you will be needed at that time, in that place at that time. All right, Aditi. In Hinduism, you reincarnate unless you get nirvana. Till then, you keep clearing your karma. I believe that all of these different religions, all these different belief systems, when you take fear out of all of them, they're all saying the exact same thing. So I feel like there's something in there that we're missing. And I feel like they're all saying the same thing. They're all connected. And I feel like all of this division has been an illusion that's been painted on us. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. Lore, I was born on April 20th. Some horoscopes, I'm an Aries, and some I'm a Taurus. It's so confusing. Yes, so the cutoff date between those two is April 20th. What you can do is you can go online and look up just free birth chart, free natal chart. And you can look up your own birth chart because it depends specifically on the year that you were born and the time of day that you were born. Because the sun doesn't coincide with the Gregorian calendar. The sun is on her own. The universe and the planets are on their own timeline. So some years it's April 19th, some years it's April 21st, some years it's April 20th. So just look for your exact birth date, the year, and then if you know the time, because they can change throughout the day as well. Maria, thank you. So glad I found you. Soleil, everything you are speaking about was called the New Age in the beginning of the 20th century. Interesting. Janine, I'm global warming. How is the Earth going to last? I would encourage you to look into the possibility of there being more than one. I don't know how this is going to come out. I believe that there are parallel universes, that there are different dimensions, even within the physical plane where we are. I think when we incarnate, there are endless options of where this can happen. Like, you can reincarnate on another planet, right? You can reincarnate in a place and time that you haven't even heard of in this human existence. I believe that everything is endless and the possibilities are just out of this world. Lore, Spirit told me that we don't take the ego. Every time we reincarnate, the ego comes back. It's different every time depending on our soul contract. Thank you for that, Lore. I appreciate the explanation, the clarification. Janine, I agree. I believe all religions actually have the same God or higher power. Yeah. The illusions that have been painted on us throughout this existence. Karen, so if you've experienced a lot of trauma in this life, are you saying that soul chose that for this lifetime? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow. But everything that has happened and everything that will happen for you in this lifetime, it's all for a reason. We'd like to believe that everything that we have ever done has been pure and of highest mind. But just as human beings, right? We're born, we grow up, we make mistakes, we learn, And then we grow older, we make different mistakes of a higher mind, we grow. So if you are a young soul, you might have made some mistakes in your previous lifetimes, and this is not a punishment, but this is just your way of reconciling things that your soul may have done on its growth pattern, its growth path. Lord, yes, more than one earth, parallel universe. I've also heard that every time you make a decision, your timeline splits. So even if I decided to have a cup of coffee this morning or not, there's a version of Jacqui who goes on the coffee route, and there's a version of Jacqui that goes on the no coffee route. And it's a completely different paradigm. So can you imagine, I chose to end this relationship, I chose to keep this relationship, and all of those versions of ourselves are still out there. God, Jacqui, you are very courageous, confident, and trust. I like that. A live session to ask any question, very powerful. Your courage and trust teach me a lot. Thank you, Gada. That's very, very kind of you to say. And you know, because you follow me a lot, you only see in other people what you hold inside of yourself. So I'm glad that you are finding your own courage and trust through me. I love being a part of everyone's journey like that. Janine, is suicide part of a soul contract? Yes, it is. It's not a fun way to look at a soul contract, but yes, it is. Everybody is on this earth for the amount of time that their soul needs to be on this earth. Sometimes people are here to bring messages to other people, to lead people in a certain way. Janine, asking because my long-term boyfriend ended his life in 2018 and it literally has changed my entire life. Yeah, that's very heavy, Janine. I'm very sorry to hear that. And it has literally changed your entire life. That's where I'm going with all this. A person is here to lead us to a certain path. And while the start of that path can happen traumatically, sometimes the biggest growth and the biggest revelations that we reveal within this life come from a place of pain. So I'm feeling like you know that there's something like this, it happened for a reason. Because, suicide, any death, any trauma, it doesn't only affect one person at one time. It has a ripple effect, and it affects everybody and everything that has ever been connected to that person. And it's all about how we choose to process. We can choose to focus on the negative and bring ourselves down, or we can choose to ask ourselves how that is trying to help us evolve and ascend. And by leaning into the pain, sometimes you can find, where was I going with that? By leaning into the pain, you can heal parts of yourself that will bring you to a higher place than you can ever imagine. Janine, you would have never found your life purpose. I'm speechless. That must have been probably one of, if not the hardest thing that you've ever endured in your life, but it led you to literally your life purpose. Everything happens for a reason. Karen, thanks, Lord. This has been so hard to come to terms with because of how my early childhood abuse impacted me. Yes, and Saleh is saying my 21-year-old nephew did the same thing last year. We all grow, that was a Freudian slip. We all grow through times of pain. All of us have pain and trauma in our lives. For whatever reason, it's taboo to talk about it because no one wants to carry your problems. Well, it's not their place to carry your problems. It's our place to express our emotions and allow them to come up and out. Everybody has trauma. Everyone goes through shit. It all depends on how we handle it and how we look at it. Lore, Karen, I recommend reading The Seat of the Soul to help you. The Seat of the Soul. Lore, what is that about? Maria, am I going to be with my soulmate in this lifetime? That's a question that I would need tools to help figure out. We can dive into your astrology chart and we can do some tarot readings to figure that out. There might be a soulmate. Sometimes you're your own soulmate. Right here, right now, I'm not able to answer that question, but hop on over to my website if you'd like to explore that question with me. Saleh, Janine, thank you and sorry for this experience, but it is all for a reason. Understanding that the universe doesn't do anything to you. The universe does everything for you. So all of the good that happens, say thank you. All of the bad that happens, say thank you. All of the abundance that comes your way, say thank you. All of the lessons that come your way, say thank you. I want to say this name right. Oh, Arlene. My eyes were playing a trick on me. I thought it was A-R-I. Arlene, great book. Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukov. I'll have to look into that. If you guys are enjoying our time today, you might choose to support me with a donation. If you would like to stay updated and follow me on Insight Timer, you can do so. See when I offer new classes, new Ask Me Anything sessions. And if you want to work one-on-one with me, my website is in my Insight Timer profile. Gada, Maria, if you believe this, you will be. I like that. I like that, Gada. If you believe that you will find your soulmate, you will. Arlene, isn't that the book you mentioned? Yes, Arlene, I read it off of a comment, I believe from Lore. Yes. Seat of the Soul. Tammy, thank you very kindly. I appreciate your donation. Is it time to pull a card and just see what the universe has for us right now? Laura, the book is about the soul contract, reincarnation, and how to see life and understand the human journey. Lovely, that sounds like it would be beneficial for everybody. I'm feeling a card right now. I'm going to pull from my favorite deck, Ask Your Guides. Let's just see what the universe wants to tell us right now, and then we can continue our conversation. Saleh, that's why we shouldn't attach ourselves to what we think is important. What Jacqui is saying about being grateful for all. Shouldn't attach ourselves to what we think is important. Yeah, because sometimes, we're always drawn to things that feel good, right? Things that bring us beautiful outcomes. Because who wants to go through pain? Who wants to go through trauma? If we attach ourselves to all of the positive feelings and try to detach ourselves from the unwanted feelings, we could be depriving ourselves of so much growth. Like, think about like one or two qualities in yourself that you are the most grateful for. I love my confidence, and I love my ability to try new things. So where did this come from? Where did my confidence come from? Because I grew up as a shy kid. I wouldn't order my own food at a restaurant until I was like 16. So where did this confidence where did it come from? It came from me forcing myself to get a job. My first job was at Starbucks. I talked to people all day, every day. So it was uncomfortable. It sucked. I hated asking people questions. If I didn't understand their order the first time, it was like pulling teeth to get me to ask them to clarify what they wanted. So one of my favorite parts about myself now came from a time of uncomfortability. I love my ability to jump in and try new things. You know how many times I jumped in and failed? Saleh loves your openness. I love it. I love it. I had a card fly out a second ago. All right, guys, our inner child is talking to us today. Card number 7, imagination. So this message was brought to us by all of your energy. Aditi, I agree. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You need it. Yes, 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 yes. All right, guys, keywords for this card are nocturnal dreams, daydreaming, reverence, and fantasy. Your divine inner child spirit is knocking at your door, inviting you to step away from a serious life filled with too much work and drudgery and allow yourself some well-deserved playtime. Your life is presently over-controlled by others' needs and much too burdened with responsibilities. Consequently, you're losing touch with your inspiration and creativity. Listen to your inner child. Take time to daydream, fantasize, visualize, wonder, and explore. Feed your inner child with art classes, theater tickets, concert tickets, and other types of recreational activities. If you don't honor your inner child's needs, he or she will get your attention by throwing one heck of a childish tantrum, manifesting in a chronic bad mood or a nasty depression. You need this magic right now. Your inner child's message is come play with me. So where in your life, guys, have you been a little too adult? Where do you need to step out and play a little bit more? I could use a little bit more play. I've been focusing a lot on work, focusing a lot on growing myself. But maybe this is telling me to take a day off. Just go walk my dogs for a few hours. Arlene, Lore, I plan to listen to the audiobook again. Read the book back when it first came out. Very cool. Laura says that book helped her so much. Thank you for the recommendation, Laura. I hope that book helps lots of others. If you would like to join, I can't talk and type. If you'd like to join my group here on Insight Timer, it is called Our Spiritual Community. It's a place where I invite you all to share your own spiritual modalities, what you're working on, to ask questions of others about what modalities they are working on. It's a place just to learn from each other, to share with each other, come together in a community of love. I also post updates every day. So I do daily oracle readings here on Insight Timer, and I just post a recap of what we brought up during the oracle reading in case you ever missed them. Laura, I had to heal my inner child in order to be better. We all do, and it's a scary place to go. it seems easier to tuck that away and shove it down, but they need to come out. Oh, I'm being called since Sunday to do more inner child work and shadow work, and the fact that this came up and now you're all talking about it. So I went to a psychic fair on Sunday. There's a little crystal shop that just opened 4 minutes from my house, which is great because the closest one was like 30 minutes away before. And she had a psychic fair, and we did free readings and whatever, and things kept coming up about just explore your shadow. There's something that you're holding on to with your shadow and whatever. And now this is at a crystal shop, right? So I was there with a friend for about 2 hours just hanging out with the crystals, and nothing was really calling to me. And then immediately after my reading, I went back over. I found this beautiful lady. Let me look up the name again. I forgot what the name was. This is diopside. And this stone opens the heart and mind to others by promoting compassion for the suffering of others and yourself. And I was like, oh, get out of town. Talking about inner child, some shadow work, compassion for suffering. So that was really cool. And I was also called to get out of my heart and, wow, I keep saying that, get out of my head and into my heart, which is something that I've been hearing for a very long time. And I found this. This is called chrysoprase. And the message for this, the last sentence of her little explanation was literally, get out of your head and into your heart. Very cool. Karen, this resonates with me. My inner 12-year-old has been waiting for her time for several weeks. Her day is Friday. What do you mean by that, Karen? My inner 12-year-old has been waiting for her time for several weeks. Her day is Friday. What are you doing on Friday? What else can we talk about? What other questions do you guys have? We still have some time here. Or if this might be just the time to call it a day, this might be the time to call it a day. I've been loving sharing this time with you. I love connecting with you guys. I love that you all are sharing, you're opening up, you're being vulnerable. And I know that that's a very scary thing to do, because who wants to show other people their own shadow? Who wants to show other people where they have fallen, right? But I love this community, the whole Insight Timer community. I feel like we're all here for the same reason. I have never seen any hatred here on this app. Never. That's astounding because there's a lot of people who just like to attack because they don't know how else to handle their stuff. So thank you all for just being supportive of each other. Thank you for being supportive of me. I'm always in awe with how much love we cultivate in these events. Gada, thank you so much for your thoughts and the information you shared with us, Jacqui, and everyone. Yes, thank you all for sharing. Karen, I have 4 inner selves who experienced the trauma and abuse I didn't. So, Ainer is my 12-year-old who's coming out for pancakes in the new movie Running Red. I love that. I hope you have a beautiful day spending time with her. Beautiful, beautiful. Lore, thank you so much, Jacqui. Tammy, I know, it's wonderful. So much love here. So much love. All right, guys, well, I guess I will leave you with that. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow I have a daily oracle reading at 1:11 p.m. Central Time. Thursday, I have an oracle reading at 9:45 Central Time. Friday, I can go back to my 8:15 slot. Friday I'll be here for an oracle reading at 8:15 Central, and then I have a grounding Reiki yoga class at 9:15 on Friday. And we'll be using the energy of the waxing gibbous moon growing towards our manifestations. So, yeah, feel free to join me whenever you like. Laura, I feel like I'm learning so much, and it's great to be with other people like me. Yes, find your tribe. It's so comforting to be surrounded by people who are on the same page, people who are on the same vibrational level. I love it. Well, I hope to see you guys very soon. I enjoyed my time today very much. The light in me truly honors the light in you. Namaste. Arlene, thanks so much, Jackie. I'll be back. I will see you all very soon. Take care.